Alright folks, it's been a while since I put a video out. You know how it goes. Life gets in the way, you get busy with other stuff. I finished off some knives I had for an order. I've been working on another one here for the same couple. That should be ready shortly. I say shortly, with no actual timeline, but you know how it goes. Anyway, so I've been looking at getting my other forge made and up and running, but I wanted to get burners done for it, and I wanted to have a new setup. My old homemade forge had a single burner on it, and it worked mostly. It wasn't the best. I was able to use it as a foundry and actually melt aluminum fairly regular. But the last time I did it, I was having a lot of issues with the burner popping and making a lot of sound. So I've decided I was going to change that out, and with the new forge I was debating on whether or not to use one or two burners, and I figured why not use two. I can always just turn down the pressure or regulate the air, or if need be, you know, take one apart, whatever. I can do that. It's harder to put one on than it is to take one off. So the old burner was made as a sidearm burner with a reducer with a 1 3/4 and 1 1/4 triple with a 1 1/4 cap with a hole drilled in it, and two, as you can see, stop screws, set screws. It used a 1/8 inch, I don't think that was the problem, but 1/8 inch pipe nipple with, you can see the threads on there, using a .045 welding tip, and that was screwed into the end like that, and that drops in through there, and you can see it just inside the chamber there. Can you see it? Try and aim it to the light. There we go. Just inside the chamber for air mixing. You can see the set screw I had on here. That was for a air blocker, so I could open and close as need be. I also used a 6-inch pipe, 6-inch 3/4 pipe. And now everything I've seen for every guy that has made them since, I see at least 8-inch pipe. I was looking on a couple of other websites, Zeller Forge and High Temp Tools, and they recommend at least an 8-inch pipe. Now, the place I went to get the rest of the fittings, and we'll talk about those in a moment, didn't have an 8-inch, it had a 12-inch. So, obviously what I'm going to have to do, because I can't find any 8-inch, I'm sure there is somewhere. I don't feel like driving around for hours and hours trying to find it. So what I'm going to do, since I have a 6 and a 12, I'll cut this at about the 6 to about the 9, cut off 3 inches, weld these two ends back together, cut this in here somewhere, take this piece, weld it onto here. That should give me almost 9-inch pipes, which should be enough for what I plan on doing. A lot of other parts too. So we'll go over what I do have. I have 2 90-degree elbows, 2 1/4 by 2 inch pipe nipple brass for the 90 elbows, and a 1/4 T to connect these together. And this is perfect size for my quarter valve that'll come off my propane tank itself, right off the hose. Go in here and it'll run. Then we have quarter. I can put this, well, anyways. Again, 1/4 by 3 pipe nipple, which will thread onto the 90s. And then we'll thread onto, these are quarter connectors, and you see I have flats filed off. We'll talk about that in a second. Quarter end caps with 7/32, no, hold on, 5/64. I think these are 5/64. Anyways, holes drilled through to take a .03 weld tip. One and a quarter by 3/4 reducing valve, which will go over here. That'll go on there. I'll put these together in a little bit and I'll give you a quick show. And that'll be the nozzle. I also have a 1 by 3/4, and this will be the flare. 2 of those, obviously. And then these particular ones are 1/4 20 by 1.5. These will be set screws, and these will go here in each of these holes to hold this in place and centered for the burner. As I said, I have miscellaneous other parts in here as well, which are currently irrelevant. So this will actually sit on top of there like that. Like that. So I'll do a quick little push through anyways. I'm going to stop this. I bought a brass tee as well, just because, but I'm going to need it. I was also going to try some other stuff, so I just have other odds and ends parts in case I needed them. I hadn't decided on which burner style I was actually going to use, so I kind of have little bits and pieces of everything. I mean, it didn't cost a whole lot when I put it all together. So I will stop this. I will put the majority of it together. I will cut and weld that, and I will come back when that is all set up. I'll reset up in a different spot and put it all together so you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll take it out and have a test, and hopefully it'll actually show flame. Who knows? And before you say anything, yes, I understand it's galvanized. This is not going in the flame. This is not going into the flame. This is the only thing that's going to be in the flame, and that galvanization, the zinc, will burn off fairly quickly, and it's going to be outside anyway, so it really won't have an effect. Yes, I understand about fume poisoning. I get it. I understand. See you in a bit. So my only issue with this one, with this setup, is that the one I had before with the Z burner had it all so that it was set up, you know, here in the middle right in the middle of the air chamber. I don't know if it's required for these ones or not. I have seen a variation of this where they actually don't use a nozzle, where instead it is just they use a 68 hole, I think a number 68 drill in the cap, and that's it. I don't know if that's going to cause me an issue or not. I won't know until I'm actually set up for burner. If that is the case, and if I don't seem to be getting the flow that I want, the burners seem muffled, or they pop a lot, or they just don't fire properly, then I will probably change out this version. I'll get a couple of different cap screws and a number drill instead of just regular, and we'll see if that makes any difference. If it really just doesn't seem to want to work that way, then I'll have to try a different version of burner. There's a dozen of them, so. Because my main thought, it's not very flat, my main issue is that if this doesn't go, or even if it is straight down and it goes straight up the nozzle, does it have enough oxygen to run, or have enough air to run? And I won't know that until I actually start firing everything. So the idea is that this is going to sit in here, these will be flush, everything will be running in through there, this will accept air down through here. I haven't decided what I want to do for air yet, how I'm going to run it. I'm going to have to put a baffle on there. So that it can adjust up and down, and I can get more or less air. I've seen a couple where they just pull out, pull in and out this way. But there are also a number that actually screw on. So now that I've done that, what I should have done, excuse my reach, was check the holes. Set it all up in a line. I can still do that here. It's just going to take me a second to rig it up. this out right now. It looks like I'm drawing arbitrary lines, I understand that. But where these are all cast iron, you'll have a seam for the casting. So you check on that seam. And when you look, so you'll make your mark on that seam. And just to be sure, you can run your straight edge across. And then when you look on the other side, when you look at your numbers, so in this case 3/4, you'll see that the divider is right here. That's the center. They do this for a reason. So you have your center there, and when I come back over to this side, I can see this number 1, it says 14, that number 1 is right in the center, so I can mark it there. And then just to confirm, run it across. So now that that's set up, I'm going to drop this back over, and I can gauge the center by where it is here. So these ones will push it back and forth this way, so I'm going to screw it in a little bit, unscrew this one, screw it in a little bit. It actually looks pretty solid. Let's tighten that one in. Let's turn it this way. Okay, let's undo these ones a little bit. Turn this one. Okay. Loosen that up a touch. And remember, you want the nozzle, that end right there. You want that coming straight up. Don't care about how the rest of it lays. It could be off, it could be wonky, whatever. You want that hole going straight down, or as straight as you can. You may not be able to get it too straight. Don't worry about how square these are. Your set screws aren't going to be square around here. You're going to be off. They're not going to be perfect unless you drill straight down through and straight down through. All you're doing is setting everything up so that it gives you as close to perfect as you can get without being a machine. These are going to slide. That's why you want to have 4 of them, so you have them on all sides so you can readjust and check as you go through. Once you have them in position, grab your trusty X head. In this case mine was a 3/16. Tighten it up, making sure you stay even. I'm going to pull this one back just a touch. Put that one forward. So tightening up the bottoms, and I know you don't really notice it. You won't notice it until you actually do it. Tightening up the bottoms. So as you tighten up the centers, you move it this way. As you tighten up the bottoms, you're doing this. So you're moving this back and forth, right? So you got to pay attention to how that's going. So you may have to loosen and tighten and loosen and tighten and loosen and tighten and loosen and tighten. So see how much I'm off here. Off a little bit this way. So I could have put Loctite on those, but I may need to be able to move them later on, so just a quick check. Now we'll put that one back over there, bring out this one, check everything's nice and snug. There, move these, over the shoulder, on the floor. And again, we'll do a quick eye setup. So, since we've got that, I was going to put tape on the flare. Yeah, since this is going to be in the heat, that stuff will burn off anyway. By the time it gets down here, it should be exiting as flame, so it honestly doesn't. If you're having issues with leakage at that point, you've got other issues. Anyway, so come on. Still want it snug. burner number 1. We're going to set that out of the way, somewhere where I won't drop it and, you know, destroy everything that I've just done. Because that never happens, right? Nobody ever does that. I'm slowly learning. I've only been doing this for 15 years. Eventually I'll get it right. Who knows? Can only hope, right? As long as you keep learning. And applying your mistakes. Sorry, applying the corrections to your mistakes. Then you can get better. The other burner flare, and yes, I match them on purpose. It's just the way I am. Voila! Burner number 2. Right, now we'll get the rest of this together.